Alright guys, it is Kieran from Red Devil Weekly. We are back live on the channel once again. I'm sorry to everyone, by the way, if you didn't see me at all on any of the channels that we usually mention this week. It was because I was quite busy with uni work. I had a lot of exams, well, one exam in particular that I was revising for, so I just didn't have enough time to, really do any of this sort of stuff. But we're back now and we're previewing the Manchester derby, and I'm so looking forward to this. And it's a great opportunity to bounce back from what was a really poor performance in midweek against Leipzig, a 3-2 defeat against Leipzig. But we're not gonna kind of go on about that any longer because my heart can't take it. I really can't take it. I don't want to talk about the fact that we're not playing Champions League football anymore. But tomorrow is a massive opportunity to get some pride back and to get some bragging rights as well as we take on Manchester City. And if we beat Man City tomorrow, it'll be the first time that Pep Guardiola has been beaten 3 league games in a row, the first time in his career. So that is something to be cheerful about if that does happen. Welcome Dazza, thanks to join pre-moaning. Not too confident for tomorrow. I think we'll get a draw at most. Would not be surprised, mate, to be honest. Man City are a very good team, and especially with the morale being very low after what happened against Leipzig, I wouldn't really be surprised if that sort of thing happened. But as with these previews and as we do on every video on Red Devil Weekly, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new around here, and leave us your thoughts if you're watching as a video in the comment section down below. Always great to hear what you guys have to say about games and about anything really in terms of Manchester United opinion. What? I'm getting the paper. Hello guys. Alright. Getting the paper. Sorry about that interruption. But yeah, as I said, leave a like, subscribe to if you are new around here. And we'll get into it. We'll start with Man City, because obviously Man City are the team that we're facing, and they're a pretty decent side. Let's face it, they're not a bad team. They currently sit below us in the table, to be fair, but on the same on 1 point less than us. So they're they're looking good. They're looking good this season. Not as good as they were last season, but they're still a very we're gonna have to negotiate them very safely. We're gonna have to negotiate them. Sorry, I've been thrown off there. I do apologise. You are still watching. I mean, thank you very much for watching. But these are the sort of games that you live for as a football fan. Yes, obviously the games that you're most nervous for usually when you're going into them and when you're discussing them. But they're the games that you most look forward to as a football fan. So, as I said, I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. But Man City currently sit in 6th place, I think, in the league on 18 points. So a win would take them above us. But a win for us would take us probably into the top 4. We'll go on to 22 points, which right now would make us joint 3rd with Chelsea. So right now, obviously, even though our Champions League situation is pretty poor, our league situation isn't actually too bad. But obviously, we've got a game in hand as well. So if we were to win our next 2 games, we would probably go top of the league. That's the scenario. We're only 5 points off the top of the league. If we were to win our next 2 games, I think we'd go top of the league, which is amazing. And that is so kind of underplayed, really, about what, with all the negativity that's happening right now. And I'm not saying that we're a great team. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be negative when we have played badly. I'm not saying that at all. But our league form and where we are in the league right now and the position we find ourselves in does get downplayed a lot. It really does. The fact that, we find ourselves 5 points off the top. Man City have started worse than us, and no one's really covering that. No one's really talking about whether Pep Guardiola needs to keep his job or not. No one's really talking about that. Everyone's talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Solskjaer, after the Leipzig game, was made the favourite of any manager in the Premier League to be sacked at 2-1. Which means, by the way, if you put £1 on it, you get £1.50 back. No, you get £2 back, actually, sorry. My math is just terrible. But obviously, Solskjaer's the one that everyone's going at right now. But there's definitely more managers who should be got out. Arteta, and I think it's Guardiola as well. Really poor start to the season by Man City standards, even though they only find themselves 6 points off the top. They're below us. So what does that say about us? What does that say about Man City if they sit below us? But they've got a fantastic team. Today, they're, today, or tomorrow, they'll be looking for vengeance. Obviously, if we beat them, it'll be the 4th time in succession that we've beaten Manchester City, which, or the 4th time in the league in succession. Or no, the 3rd time in the league in succession that we would have beaten Manchester City, which is pretty incredible considering it was a decade since we last did the double over Man City. To beat them 3 times in a row in the league would be something very, very special indeed. So look, I'm sure that the players are going to want to bounce back. I'm sure they'll be up for it. Realistically, Man City is a very, very difficult challenge, and they've got a very good record at Old Trafford. Apart from what happened last season, all the previous seasons, they've done well, and we've struggled to play against Man City at Old Trafford. We really have. Welcome Owen, and welcome Tom. Thanks for joining as well. Appreciate it. That was a different background. Nice, yeah. It is a little bit of a different background, a little bit of a better lighting as well. I was in the playroom last time. I probably will be in the playroom for future videos, or a different room at least for future videos. But for now, I am in this room because I had to move my stuff into this room, and actually the lighting's not as bad in this room as well. So hopefully it's better for you as well. But yeah, as Tom says, Pep will definitely want to get one over Ollie this time, 100%. I mean, after everything that was said after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer beat him, 3 times last season, once in the Carabao Cup, even though we went out in the end, so really, Pep didn't mind about that one too much. But he'll know about that. There's no way he doesn't look at that sort of banter. He doesn't look at that sort of media hype and all the kind of jokes and stuff that were made about him. He'll look at it and he'll know what the job he's got to do. So realistically, we've got to put in a performance, because Man City are no joke. They're a sensational side. But I think we've had success against them in the past, and I feel like if we use a very similar system, we will have the same sort of success against them in the future, because realistically against Man City, we always part the bus and counter-attack, and that worked out for us all the time last season. Apart from that one game in the Carabao Cup, every other game we played against Man City that season, we beat them, and they struggled to break us down. And even though they had quite a few chances in the game, they struggled to break us down. So I think Solskjaer should go back to that. I don't think we should go toe-to-toe with Man City, because that's exactly what they want opposition teams to do. They want you to go toe-to-toe with them. They want you to attack and leave spaces in behind. And if we do that, we're going to get exploited big time. So in my opinion, I think the best tactical strategy is going a bit more defensive, a bit more reserved, and playing on the counter-attack. But that's just me. We'll see what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to do. From his press conference, he seemed to be very very worried about the attacking players and the attacking style of the game. He wants to have a very, very strong attack, so he doesn't have to rely on defending and then breaking. And we do have a very good attack. I think even in games this season where we haven't played well, we've still come out scoring 2 or 3 goals in that game. In mostly, sometimes we haven't scored. For example, against Chelsea and Arsenal at home, they did very, very well to keep us out, and also we did very, very well not to cause too many problems for them. So ultimately, we haven't really tested the big teams, and our record against the big sides this season has been poor. Obviously losing against Spurs, drawing against Chelsea, losing against Arsenal. This is another big game for us, and Manchester City at home, it's not looking good for us in terms of how well we've done against the other big sides this season. But at the same time, you've got to look at our form against Man City in previous seasons, and if we can just use that same blueprint, I think we'll get better results. I think we'll get the same result, and hopefully Man City can continue to show up and play the same way as they always do against that system, because if they do, they will get slapped up. But we need to obviously do our jobs properly. Obviously, in all the games we beat Man City, we've either had a very, very good, we've had both a very clinical attacking and defensive performance. And we need to be clinical. Obviously, that was something that we weren't against Leipzig and also against West Ham in the first half. And I think as well, one thing to bear in mind is the fact that we played really poorly in the first half in our last kind of 4 or 5 games. If we do that against Man City, they will take us apart in that first half, and we'll be left, 3 or 4-1 down. This is going to be, if we do, play poorly in the first half. We played it poorly in the first half against teams that aren't that great. So when we play poorly in the first half against Man City, they will just take that and run with it. They will punish us severely. So we have to be careful. We have to really be careful. Rasmus, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Cheers, Rasmus. Thanks for joining. Daza says, Arsenal fans laughing United being sent to Europa League in a group with PSG and Leipzig when they can't even get into the Champions League and they're 15th. Who's the real banter club? Well, Daza, you couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. Couldn't have said it better myself. Ultimately, you know, they're always going to, you know, put the banter, you know, have the banter flying about between the two clubs. And as long as it's healthy, I don't mind. But at the same time, yeah, Arsenal fans just can't shout about anything right now, honestly. They can't shout about anything. I will be doing call-ins, Tom, don't worry, very, very soon. Owen says, exactly, Dazza, they're just trying to deflect away from the fact they should have never sacked Wenger. Maybe so, maybe so. But, yeah, I will be doing call-ins, guys, so don't worry, I'll be getting you on very, very soon indeed, so stay tuned. But keep getting your thoughts on the live chat. Don't be afraid to let me know what you guys think of anything I've said, or any questions as well, any kind of, you know, debate topics you want to bring up. Make sure you leave them in the live chat. But we talked a little about Man City. Obviously, you know, really, so we know enough about Man City to know their key danger man. Kevin De Bruyne being one of them. Kevin De Bruyne shows up at Old Trafford every single time. Unbelievable performances the last few times. I can't remember the last time where he didn't show up at Old Trafford, really. You've got Raheem Sterling, who's never scored against Manchester United as well, looking to break his duck like Salah did last season at Anfield. And Phil Foden as well. For me, Phil Foden's on a very, very good run of form, and he's a really, really good young player. Someone, obviously, who's mercilessly compared to Mason Greenwood. So that'll be a really interesting battle if that does happen. Dazzle says, people are salty that Bruno getting Player of the Month award and 1 million coin price on his SBC, lol. Better player got the award. Yeah, well, there you go. Listen, I just feel like, you know, Bruno Fernandes, for what he's done, you know, this month, and I mean, I would not be surprised if Bruno Fernandes was to leave in the summer, especially with the way we're playing right now, especially with the way we're going. I would not be surprised in the slightest. But yeah, I think he deserved it. Another Player of the Month award, and it just continues to show. And we continue to ask the question as well, has any player come into the Premier League and had the same sort of impact that Bruno Fernandes has had? Tom says Cavani's a big blow for the game if he's out. Yeah, I think Cavani apparently is a bit of a doubt. He has trained a little bit with the team, but I think he is a bit of a doubt. As Dada says, he's a bit 50-50. And Owen says, I'm guessing everyone's had a think after the game. There'll be different opinions on Pogba. Don't worry, just as long as your praise allows your disrespect. Well, I'm sure we'll get Tom and Dazza on in just a second, and they'll, you know, share their opinions with you, and they may agree, may disagree with you. Who knows? But yeah, I'll get people on now. I will get people on now, see what people are saying. And if you do want to join in, please do feel free to do so. The link will be in the live chat as always, so make sure you do get involved if you haven't already. But let's get some guests on. Let's see what you guys are saying. Realistically, from the Man United point of view, I think, as I said, I think we should actually play a bit more defensive, because it worked. It worked against Man City in the last few times that we played them. So I don't see why we should change that system. I feel like if you go toe-to-toe with Man City, they will break you down. They've got the passing, they've got the ability to break you down, especially with our poor defending as well. We could be in big, big trouble if we do try and go toe-to-toe with Man City. So with that in mind, we need to protect our defence. So I wouldn't mind a 5-3-2. I wouldn't mind a 5-3-2. You guys might say I'm absolutely insane, but I wouldn't mind it. I really wouldn't mind it. But obviously we're going to speak to a few guests, hopefully, in just a few moments about what they think about the formation, how they think we should go about it. Dazza says, have you heard who's in the top 3 Manager of the Year nominations with Hansi Flick and Jurgen Klopp? I didn't hear the other nominations, to be honest. I didn't hear the other nomination. But yeah, those two definitely deserve to be there. Obviously, Premier League champion Jurgen Klopp, Hansi Flick, Champions League and Bundesliga champion as well. It doesn't really get any better than that, really, for a managerial season. Tom says, Pogba update. Pogba is forcing a transfer away from Manchester United and has his heart set on a return to Juventus. I saw that. I heard that from, I think it was Forker, the journalist. He said today that actually it was Paul Pogba that wanted Mino Raiola to make the statement that he did to try and push a move away from Manchester United and kind of get the speculation out there, which isn't very impressive if that's true, but you know, who knows? Who knows what's true and what's not? But we'll add Dazza to the stream. We'll add Dazza as usual. Make sure to check out Dazza's football stand if you haven't already as well. Great stuff on there. And we'll get a transfer time.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might as well have it like that.
But Dazza, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it as always. I saw obviously in the live chat you said that you weren't that confident going into this game. You said a draw is probably the most we can hope for out of this game. How do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United should go about it in terms of trying to do better than what you predict we'll do and get 3 points?
We need to be starting from the off. I was watching Mark Gorbacz's press conference reaction earlier. He said we respond more than a bloody ambulance.
It's true.
But no, we need to stop having to respond all the time because we're putting ourselves in that situation. We start off from the off sometimes in the first 6 minutes, as Mark said, the 6 minute abs. And then we don't do anything from there. So we start off okay. Put it this way, we don't seem to be having that many slow starts apart from Leipzig. We've had 1 or 2 slow starts, but we don't often start slow.
Do you want to have a panto?
Hang on a second.
That's all right. Tom, we'll bring you in as well. Do you think quickly that? Actually, well, if Dazza, I'm not sure if Dazza.
Sorry,
Dazza, we'll let you carry on. Sorry, Tom. We'll come back to you in just a second. Dazza, carry on. Sorry. What were you saying?
Oh dear lad. He's disappeared. So as I was saying, we tend to start off well and then we sort of sit back and just invite pressure. You can't do that against Manchester City. Now, last season, if we recall, in the Carabao Cup, we were 3-0 down at half time. And we were literally out of it from there. And it wouldn't have mattered how well we played at the Etihad or the Etihad because we were never going to go through. It was never going to happen. That first leg killed it, really. And City, Pep Guardiola's, a fantastic manager. Obviously, he's won the Premier League before, hasn't he? And, I remember watching him at Bayern as well. Always the tactician with the philosophy. Something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't have, a philosophy and tactics. I'd probably do a better job than him, but debatable, I'd say. But we're going to have to start from the off. We're going to have to be pushing all match. We're going to have to play for the full 90 minutes, not be a 45-minute team, play bad in the first half, play well in the second half, because by then we could be 2 or 3-0 down, and then there's no coming back because once City lead, they tend to defend it out. So they're good defensively, they're good attacking-wise. We're okay attacking-wise, but we're crap defensively. So if we're going to lose, it'll be because of the defence. That's what I'm worried about, because the defence is very, very suspect. But Manchester City's defence recently hasn't been particularly amazing either. But I think if you look at the two, look at the two managers, look at the two teams on paper, City have the stronger squad. So I'm not expecting too much. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope we can win this. And if United win, the beard's coming off. Even though I'm not meant to shave, even though I wasn't planning on shaving it off till Christmas Eve, but in time for Christmas Day. But if United win against City, it's coming straight off on Sunday night. And when you actually do, not Sunday night, on Saturday night after the stream. When you're probably doing your stream as well, you'll probably see me coming on with no beard if that's the case, because I'll shave it off straight away. So there you go. But, I hope United actually do win, because this is getting itchy as hell sometimes. But
well, I hope you've got a lovely baby face after tomorrow's game. I hope you do. Rich, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Make sure to check out Rich Sports as well. Great stuff on there. And on Tom, as always, really appreciate it. Obviously, you heard what Daz has had to say.
Sorry, very quickly, by the way.
Go on.
Sorry. The comment in there, by the way, Marcelo Bielsa.
Oh yeah, the third. Oh right, okay, yeah, the third nomination.
How on earth is he in the top 3 managers of the year? He's done out.
He got Leeds promoted.
Yes, and that's about it. They're going to get relegated, hopefully. You never.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Who knows?
Hansi Flick will win it.
I'm sure he will. Yeah, Champions League and domestic cup. I mean, domestic league as well. I mean, you can't really give it to anyone else.
And
But-
Messi, Ronaldo, and Lewandowski.
yeah, that's...
Jesus Christ.
Tom, thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it. Obviously, you've heard what Daz has had to say. Are you similar? Are you not wholly confident that we're going to get that we have a chance of winning the game, or do you think there's a little bit of hope for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United?
Hope is a dead man walking. Let's be honest. He's got to be. He's dead man walking. So you don't bottle the amount of things that he's. The pressure. You're at the biggest club in the world and you're the manager. Nobody can say that what we saw the other night where we bombed out to Leipzig, that's not Ed Woodward or that's not the Glazers' fault because they don't coach the players. They just run the off-the-field shenanigans. What happens on the field is down to the manager and his coaching staff. And ultimately, he bottled it yet again and was suddenly getting the reputation of bottling things, bottling semi-finals, bottling top four in seasons, bottling big matches because we've not even won a game against the top six this season. Because we've played, Chelsea, we've played Arsenal, we've played Spurs, we're playing City, and we've not even beat one of them. And we're talking about Ollie's record from last season was amazing against the big clubs. Well, suddenly it's completely the arse has fallen out of it, to be honest. And when we want to talk about winning trophies and stuff, it doesn't really fill you with hope when you can't even get out of your qualifying group for a Champions League. And then you're going in to play Manchester City, who are a better team than Leipzig, hands down. Yeah, I would say, obviously, City's got the better manager from right now, and they've got better players than Leipzig that can do a lot more than what Leipzig did in that first half. So, like Daz said, if we don't turn up in that first half, mate, it'd be 4 or 5-0 easily. And years ago you wouldn't even thought about that, but now we have. You've got to really question the direction of where we're going because we took this from, say, last year where the season at the beginning was absolutely rubbish. We couldn't, pull up a win against teams like Newcastle. And now it's a case of we've bombed out of the Champions League. All we've got to look forward to is Thursday nights against someone like Prague, and all we've really got to play for now this season is a 4th place finish if you're lucky, and maybe a trophy. That's it. That's all you've got to look forward to now. You've got no big European.
Oh, Tom.
I thought he was cutting out because there was one point where I was like, "Now what's happened?"
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well,
I think he cut out a few times before. Just to make sure, I definitely didn't kick him or anything. My hands are here. Don't worry, my hands are up. My hands are up.
Owen put 3 points of coming to Manchester. Well, yeah. I mean, it's quite obvious.
I'm not surprised Owen said that. But Red Max TV, thanks for joining as well. He says, excited for this. Please don't let me down, United. I wouldn't hold your breath. But thanks for watching Red Max TV. Yeah. Appreciate it. Make sure to check out Red Max TV. Dazza, you want to say something? Yeah,
I mean, I know Tom hadn't finished his full point, but what he was saying, I thought was spot on. We haven't got much. We don't really have that much to look forward to this season. We've obviously got we've got the derbies and the big rivalries, I suppose, to look forward to. But of course, as he said, top four and the trophy. I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was the case. And it's only the third time we've actually been in the Europa League, so we've won it once or twice. So it could happen. Could happen. There you go. He's back now. Carry on, man.
Not with this man.
Yeah.
Not with this guy. Yeah, not with this guy. Not with this guy, man. His ass falls out of everything that he enters. It's simple as that. Bombed out of the top 4 the first year, had to beat Leicester on the last day of the season. The only thing we can say he's achieved is getting top 4, but he had to win it on the last day. That, because we was pretty much bottling it towards the end. We were bottling it towards the end. We couldn't win. We had 3 opportunities to qualify and go 3 points clear of Chelsea and Leicester, but we bottled it each and every single time, and we nearly didn't qualify on the last day. And we talk about going into the City game. Why would you be confident? Because At home, we've won one game at home all season against West Brom, and that was via a penalty. We won one game at home all season, and you're coming up against Manchester City, who probably are the second best team in the country behind Liverpool. What sort of confidence do you have, really? Let's be honest.
I suppose the attack, and I suppose
that's the only thing. Exactly.
Some of our midfielders can sort of nullify their main.
Yeah, but this is what I mean.
etc. But
there isn't a carbon copy. There isn't a carbon player. Like if you put Liverpool against Man City, you can say, "Oh, we'll just stick Fabinho and De Bruyne for the rest of the game." Who do we say in our team to do that? To De Bruyne, who do we have? Nobody. Pogba's
Scott McTominay. Scott
McTominay. Don't even start me on.
He never plays. That's the problem. He needs to play more often. That's Ollie's problem. He doesn't play him. McTominay.
Yeah, and this is what
McTominay would just give him a bloody free game. He wouldn't even man mark him. He's hopeless. No. He's one player I don't want to see on the field.
Yeah, I don't want Scott McTominay anywhere near. I don't want Maguire near, to be honest. Disgraceful overnight. Absolutely disgraceful. He's probably cost us getting into the next round. He's just let the ball just go right past him. What the chuffing hell were he doing? He's just in the arse end of nowhere, and then the ball just comes straight across him. Boot it out for a corner.
In the full defence was questionable against
Boot it out the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most frustrating thing was the fact that, you know, it wasn't like it was only one cross. Like, to concede from 3 crosses is just so disheartening.
This is what I mean.
And, you know, when you spend
so not marking, isn't it?
Well, 100%. Kobe, thanks for joining as well. Appreciate it. And Rich says Tom's internet is like our defence, just randomly disappears without warning. Yeah, listen. I mean, one thing obviously you talked about why. You talked about why would you be confident? Do you think that, you know, our form against Man City last season, the fact that, you know, we beat them 3 out of 4 times last season, do you think that should give us confidence?
Not really, no. Because if we're being honest, one of the games didn't mean it. We can take the 3 games that we won. We won away 2-1 at their ground in the league. We won 2-0 at home in the league. And we won 1-0 away in the Carabao Cup. The 1-0 away in the Carabao Cup didn't really mean much. City had already pretty much won the tie. So just scored by a Matic goal, that was it. So we can rule that out. That wasn't really an amazing game. The 2-0 at home was 1-0 up until Ederson pretty much gave McTominay an open net. So there you go. That was 1-0. Could easily score from that, and it would have been a draw. The only game that I will say we properly played well and actually did Pep completely in was the 2-1 away in the league. That's the only one that I would really say you can take confidence from. But obviously, time has moved on. We've got a lot better a squad than we did back then, but so did Manchester City. It's not really much difference, to be honest. All you've done is added a couple of players and pretty much the places in the league. That's all you can really go off of what's that really changed. I just don't feel even I said when we were going up against West Brom at the time, people laughed at me when I said that I wasn't confident going into the game. Oh, it's only West Brom, Tom. We'll just push them aside. These teams aren't easy for us anymore. These teams used to blow away probably 6-0. You'd be betting probably 6-0 to score against teams like West Brom. And now we're only winning by a penalty against these teams. And we talk about going up against Manchester City, who have probably the best midfielder in the world, have probably the best or the second best coach in the world, and have one of the best play styles of a generation. What can you really say our play style is? Counter-attacking. That is our play style. Pep Guardiola can either play an attacking formation or he can switch it so he can play more possession-based game and just frustrate you like he used to do at Barcelona. All we do is sit back, play a bit of counter-attack. You can't do that tomorrow. You're the home team. This is what I mean. We're the home team. We play as if we're the away team week in, week out. Away team, Manchester City tomorrow, probably 10 years ago, would have been coming, sitting back and playing counter-attack. Now it's a case of, we'll just go full throttle and see what happens. Because if you put Man United under the pressure, they can't handle it because we've got bottle players. Maguire on the ball. Don't even give him the ball. Decision making, piss poor. You could say the exact same for Lindelof. Alex Tellers, I'll give him a bit of criticism, yeah. Positioning wise, in terms of his defending, positioning wise, I don't even know where he is. I thought I saw him back in Porto. To be honest, I didn't think I saw him on the field trying to mark people out of the game against Leipzig. You know, and we talk about the guy has formations. I swear to God, if I see a 5 at the back tomorrow, I swear to God, this man, I don't even know how he's still here, to be honest. You talk about having 9 lives. I think he's got 9 million lives with the amount of stuff that he's got away with. But it's in these kind of situations where the pressure's on, he needs a big result, he needs a big win to lift everything, and it's something like this that would bloody do it. But if he doesn't do it, then, mate, big decisions got to be made because you bomb out of the Champions League, you're struggling with your home form. We're at Christmas, and people say Christmas is like the midway point in a season. We've won 1 game at home for half a season. For pretty much half a season now, we've won 1 game at home. What does that tell you? Let's be honest, what does that tell you? It doesn't tell you a good story.
Crap.
Yeah, and you can even go off of some of the games we've played. West Ham and Southampton. Because going 2-0 up in the first half or 1-0 up, it's not good enough. Alex, going maybe one to have the game pretty much out your hands and then you've got to play back into it to try and get back into the game is a bit... Well, it's not ideal, let's be honest. But no, the major blow that I would say tomorrow for Man United is definitely Cavani, for me, to be honest. I think if you can't see the difference when he's in the team and when he isn't, then, go to Boots as good to Specsavers or something, to be honest. Because when you see the difference between... And what I was saying a couple of weeks ago is actually coming quite true now, when I said, what's the difference between Cavani and Martial and how they play centre-forward? And then you'll understand where I'm coming from after a couple of games. We missed Cavani against Leipzig, let's be honest. I wouldn't say we missed Martial because he's not really done much the last couple of games. But Cavani, definitely, because we had no runner through the middle. We had no option. Go on, Dazza.
Do you think with the Martial thing, do you think it's confidence issue?
Yeah, but I don't think coming back off of the end of last season, it was playing particularly well. If we're being honest about it, I know he obviously was winning a couple of penalties back then, but like I said before, we're halfway through a season, and all he has actually done is score a penalty. That is really all you can say Martial has done in a game.
Realistically, Rashford was on a hat trick, so he's lucky that
he's the new Penandes, isn't he?
Yeah. Asim, thanks for joining as well. He says he's obviously mentioned Mauricio Pochettino. He's magic, Mauricio Pochettino. I'm sure if we lose to Man City, that'll continue. I'm sure.
Only thing with Pochettino is he didn't win a trophy.
Well, neither's Ole.
Audi Cup.
He's won something. He's won nothing.
Mulder,
and he's got nothing. Ole goes for a job interview to Real Madrid or PSG or something. Here's my CV. I've got 2 Norwegian titles, and I've got Cardiff relegated, and I got a top 4
send them to
finish.
The new Europa League 2 that's coming.
I got a top 4 finish for Man United. That's my CV. You see Pep Guardiola walk through the door. Oh, I've got German league titles. I've got Spanish league titles. I've got CLs on my list. Who do you think's going to get the job ultimately? Except Premier League title. Got every league title pretty much. Could go all over the world and win a league title. Could probably win a league title with the shit that we've got here. Wouldn't make me
I know what you mean. Owen says our best hope is that Otamendi makes an appearance and that Sterling's record of not scoring against us continues. Yeah, obviously Otamendi wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we saw Otamendi in the defence. And yeah, Sterling has got a mad record of not scoring against Manchester United. To be fair, records are there to be broken, as we all know. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was broken tomorrow. Because Man City aren't in the worst of form right now. They're not in bad form. Obviously unbeaten in their Champions League group. 5 wins and a draw, taking them through to the next round. So that's you can't bat you can't bat an eyelid at that. Oh no, that's the wrong saying. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore that really. Asim says no way Pep could win a title at United. Well, obviously, I think there was a bit of a debate at the time whether Pep Guardiola or whether Jose Mourinho should have taken over Manchester United at the time they did. Because obviously, Pep Guardiola took over Man City a year before Jose Mourinho took over Manchester United. But I think Pep Guardiola was kind of available at a similar time. So who knows what Pep could have done if he had the same sort of time that Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had. Rich says, I don't think Madrid will be after Oli. Pogba, maybe, yeah. I'm sure, especially after all the comments recently. I wouldn't be surprised if if a lot of big clubs are out for Paul Pogba. But who's going to pay the price? I think that's the problem for me and for the club. Asim says he needs a big backing money and total control, just like City. And if he wants to buy a goalkeeper, he can. If he's not good enough to buy another one. Obviously, at Man United, he's saying that you wouldn't get that sort of luxury. And Kobe says, who is your ideal Pogba replacement? We'll have Tom back in. But I'll start with you, Dazza. In terms of Pogba, obviously before this City game, he's had a decent record against Man City. He scored those 2 goals. Against Man City in the 2017-18 season. But who do you think? First of all, do you think Paul Pogba will feature against Man City? And also, to answer Kobe's question, if Paul Pogba was to leave in January, let's say, who do you think would be the ideal replacement?
He'll probably still feature, despite all these rumours. But if anyone's going to come in, I know there's talks of this Camavinga coming in, I think from the Ligue 1. That's where he's from. But for me, I think if there's a player that United, in my opinion, actually need, Goretzka. Goretzka is a box-to-box midfielder, has an eye for goal, always gets forward, and can totally pressurise the opposition's defence. And that's something that Pogba never does. So United need someone like Leon Goretzka who can actually play the ball properly. Oh, what a shame Leeds are getting beat.
Yeah,
what a shame indeed. I've seen that game actually. You saw about that. I saw the VAR decision they got for the penalty as well. Like, I mean, he was just off his line. Like, it was ridiculous. Fabianski was like literally a blade of grass off his line. But yeah, I mean, obviously VAR's in there to do that sort of thing. But Tom, obviously Daz has mentioned Goretzka. Do you think Paul Pogba will feature? And also, to answer Kobe's question, who do you think would be your ideal Pogba replacement?
Yeah, I don't think he'll feature. I think he'll feature in the under-23s Manchester derby. That's where I think he should feature. To be honest, in the under-23s, you're allowed 3 experienced players. With some of the stuff that's been saying, and he's not responded to it, and he's not shown any positive sign, because it's utterly disrespectful towards the club. Let's be honest, and us as fans, the stuff that's been said, and he's not had the decency to say anything on what's going on, clearly shows that he knows what's going on and he knows what he wants. So give him what he wants. Yeah, you can play him in a Manchester derby, play him in the under-23s. That's what I think you should do with Pogba. But if you're going to sell him and you want a replacement, I already know who Ollie will go for. I think everybody knows that gut feeling. People would love Goretzka to come. I'd love Goretzka to come, but it's not an Ollie signing. Let's be honest. It's not the Ollie signing that. The signing that Ollie wants and he wanted was Jack Grealish. He will do anything to get this player. If it was up to him, he'd probably pay over £200 million to get this player. But if I'm being honest, if you're going to get, I don't know, roughly around between 50 and 80 million for around for Pogba, personally, who I would go and buy, I'd go and buy a defensive midfielder. To be honest, I'd go and buy somebody like Declan Rice, because we need that kind of player.
Pogba, Van der Beek.
But I'll just say this: when we brought Pogba in, we was expecting Pogba to have the kind of impact that Fernandes has had. and it's not worked out. We was expecting this kind of impact from Pogba, and he's not had that kind of impact at all. He's more or less backfired bringing him back, let's be honest, because all it's brought is just trouble and speculation. That is it. And, we're hearing all these things about players coming in and stuff. If he's going to go anywhere in January, from the perspective that I have, it will most likely be Juventus. But it won't be for money. They will want to offer players for Pogba. And the only players that I know Manchester United would accept in a swap deal would be either Paulo Dybala or Matthias de Ligt. If they're going to offer either one of those two players, then they will accept a swap deal for Pogba. If it's neither of the two players, then you can forget it.
Juventus could be stingy and give us our Mumsy.
No. I know definitely for sure that's not a possibility at all. All this
Tom,
talk around bringing Ronaldo as well.
Sorry to interrupt you, Tom. There, sorry about that. I wanted to ask you. Obviously, you mentioned that it'd be either Dybala or De Ligt.
Mm-hmm.
Which one out of those two would you prefer if we were to do a swap deal?
Oh, we need a defender, so I'd go for De Ligt, to be honest. We need a defender. I know Dybala can play a right wing in position or a mid from more of a cam position. We've got enough attacking midfielders or players that can play that role. We need a right winger, but I think we need somebody of a different calibre. Dybala's not a natural right winger. He's a player who can play there, but he's not a natural right winger. A natural right winger is somebody like Adama Traore or a David Neres, for example. That's the kind of right winger that you should go for. And we need a defender right now, and we need somebody who is probably of De Ligt's calibre. If you can get the De Ligt that was at Ajax, oh, mate, you're going to be bossing it at the back. Put De Ligt next to Twanzebe, but that's a partnership for you there. Simple as that. And Harry Maguire shouldn't even be the captain. I'd give De Ligt the captaincy, to be honest, because he can lead it. He can lead a team. He did it at Ajax, for crying out loud, and he got to a Champions League semi-final. What has Harry Maguire led us to? Bottling tournaments, bottling things. That's what he's led us to. Since he's come in, we've bottled 3 semi-finals and we've bottled the group stages. That's what our captain has done. I don't see any kind of leadership or anything, and he shouldn't even be the captain, to be honest. Let's be honest. The person who should be the captain is Bruno Fernandes. Everybody knows that. No, I don't want to hear this about De Gea or players
our
like
hope
that.
tomorrow is Bruno. He won Player of the Month. He's the only one. Ollie is like the Undertaker. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. The only player who you can hand on your heart say in our team is world class is Fernandes. And I'd probably you'd be pushing the boat out to say maybe Rashford. But I think off of his recent performances, absolutely, Rashford's probably in that bracket as well, because to score 6 goals in 6 games in the Champions League, which is probably one of the best records, he's got more goals than players like Mbappe. And Mbappe's one of the best players in the world, so clearly Rashford's got to be put in that bracket as well. But we're talking about replacing players and stuff, and this is the only thing that annoys me is when we're talking about speculation and we're talking about rumours, if something wants to materialise, then just let it happen. That's all I'll say. Just let it happen. Yeah. If Pogba doesn't want to be here, don't force him to be here. Just let him go, to be honest. I would, even if you're going to get a stupid fee for him, and there will be some reports soon. I'll probably put money on it that there'll be a report soon saying about Man United are going to go for a cheap deal for Christian Eriksen to replace Paul Pogba, because it's the sort of thing that people start thinking, oh, we're going to go for these cheap options and everything. We shouldn't really. If I'm being honest, I don't really think we need to replace Pogba. Really, we've got enough midfielders. If we're being honest, but if you're going to go for if you're going to go for a defensive midfielder, I would probably go for a more defensive-minded midfielder, and I'd go for somebody like a Declan Rice and a play Van der Beek as more of the player that we thought he was going to be, a number 10.
Yeah, I think that's obviously fair enough, especially with the depth that we've got, especially with bringing in Van der Beek. I think that has added to what we've got in midfield. And obviously with Van der Beek, you could argue he could play a similar role to Paul Pogba, but also if Ollie does like to play the kind of double pivot with the more attacking, more advanced midfielder, like we usually see Fred, McTominay and Fernandes, if he does want to play that going forward, then realistically, when you've already got Van der Beek and Fernandes, yeah, you don't really need Paul Pogba. Obviously, it's great to have him in and around the team because he is very, very good, technically. But if he's going to provide all this kind of speculation and all this just negative vibes, really, especially with all these rumours that come out, it just doesn't help the team. It doesn't help the team really in that aspect. A few comments here before I come to you, Dazza, and come to you, Tom, for your final score predictions before we wrap this up. Obviously, people acknowledging the fact that Leeds are losing to West Ham at home.
Should have been 3-1, man.
That's shocking.
Haller's just gone for an overhead kick and it nearly went in. Haller nearly got an overhead kick.
If Sebastian Haller scores an overhead kick against you, it's time to wrap up the club. It's time to wrap up. It's time to pick up the goalposts, take them, put them back in the shed, and just give up. Let's see. Asim says Pogba and his pig of an agent has to go. We just touched on that. Yeah, I think most people are at that stage. But to be fair, against Leipzig, he wasn't that bad. I think on principle, he's got to go. That's what you want to say.
I don't know. I don't think all these, because people are saying it's Pogba that's told his agent to do this. I just think the agent hates Manchester United as a club. I just think there's something between the agent and the club. I don't think it's necessarily Pogba. I don't think Pogba has actually come out and actually asked him to say that. I think it's just his agent trying to start beef as usual. And then the media...
Why do you think the Erling Haaland deal's going to happen?
Massive agenda. The Haaland deal will never happen because... Given his
but what I'm saying is why do you think it never did happen? Why do you think it never did happen is what I'm saying. Because of the agent who was involved. Yeah, that's the only reason why.
He's a tit.
Does anyone know how to spell Daniel? Because I saw a quote from that journalist in Daniel Falker, is it? What's his name?
Christian Falk.
Christian, that's the one, not Dan. Christian, that's it. Because it's actually, it's CF at CF Bine if you want to follow him. But he's got a quote about this story, and he said that the background, on his Twitter, it's not a quote, but on his Twitter he said the background why Mino Raiola is now speaking publicly in an interview about the farewell of Paul Pogba. Is because the agent now has pressure from Pogba to find a new club. Otherwise, he loses clients. So Falk is basically suggesting that Paul Pogba has put the pressure on.
So he's actually finally said to the agent he's been a pain in the backside for once.
Well, what he seems to be suggesting is the idea that Pogba has told Mino Raiola, listen, put me out on the shop window, get me a new club, or I'm getting another agent. And maybe this is why he's making these sorts of comments. That's what Christian Falk has suggested. But who knows? We don't obviously know the full story. Obviously, Christian Falk is a fairly well-respected journalist, I would say. But one says, well, welcome Worldwide Red Show. Thanks for joining, Sean. Appreciate it. Make sure you check out Worldwide Red Show. And congrats on 50 subscribers, man. Really do deserve it. Make sure you check him out if you haven't already. Great stuff on there. He goes with 3-1 United. I love the positivity. He says, man like Sonic, Daniel James will score on the break. I hope so. I tell you what, that would make my Christmas. It really
he
would.
Won't even start.
He also says, in fairness, Mino has called out the same lack of plan and ambition we do, but when he says it, it's a problem. I've seen people make this point, to be fair. And I'll before we get to the predictions, I'll put it to you, Tom. Obviously, Sean is making the point. Oh no, Tom's gone. Okay, I'll put it to you. I'll put it to you, Daryl. Sean's making the point that obviously, as fans, we always point out the lack of direction, the lack of ambition that the Glazers are showing with the fact that they're not bringing the players that we need and that we want, and that our manager isn't showing the same ambition that we have. And obviously, Mino Raiola is seemingly pointing that out and saying that Pogba is better than the situation at Manchester United. And Sean's obviously saying, and a lot of other fans make this argument, that Mino Raiola is just making the same argument that we've been making. What would you say to that?
I'd agree. I do think that's the case. I do think it's one of them things where if you're the manager of Manchester United, you should be coming out and actually addressing the situation rather than just letting the player's actual agent just keep banging out all these different situations and just all these comments, A manager should be actually having a word with his agent and actually explaining that, you can't keep doing this and stuff, and actually having, a private conversation with the agent and Pogba and actually trying to sort out the situation together. And of course, to come up to a mutual agreement that he should go, then he goes, because I don't understand the situation. I just don't understand what it is. Because for me, I don't see Pogba. I know Pogba's not been that great on the pitch recently, but I don't see anything wrong with Pogba. Like, I don't think he looks uncomfortable. I think he looks like he's not. I think he's just his normal self after time. And obviously I was like, well, when the actual comments first came out, I was like, well, considering Pogba didn't seem to look uncomfortable or annoyed or anything on the pitch, he just seemed to be his normal self trying to play for the team.
Do you think that could potentially be Pogba?
But I don't think that's.
Sorry to cut you off, Darryl. Do you think that Pogba obviously playing well and doing what he did on the pitch? Do you think that could be potentially him kind of trying to show himself off and put himself in the shop window for other clubs?
Yeah, it quite possibly could be. Yeah, with all these rumours. Yeah, I do agree. If anyone's going to come in, if that's the case, who's going to come in from the question? Because if you look at the price tag that we had, cost us like nearly 90 mil for him. How much are we looking to sell him for? 100? Who's going to pay that for a player who, yeah, I do think that could be the case. He's just showing off, but I don't know. I just don't know who's going to come in and pay that fee because it's such a high fee. Is anyone going to be able to afford it? If anyone's going to be able to afford it, it'll most likely be the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Bayern. I don't see any other club being able to afford someone like him. So it's a complicated situation. I'm not going to lie, because it's not the sort of thing that I think any of us fans were expecting. Pogba is a virus.
Yeah. I'm man there with a bit of a scathing comment. Says Pogba is a virus. Don't cast the last 2 goals he scored. We beat City without him last season. He is not a big game player and he's not part of Ollie's tactics this game. Fred, Scott and Bruno. I'm not sure if everyone would agree with putting Scott McTominay in.
That is true. I wouldn't want Scott McTominay in the squad though.
But yes. I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from, Iron Man. I see where you're coming from. Rich also says it was the timing of his comments. Yeah, straight before a game wasn't ideal. Really wasn't ideal, to be fair. That was the thing I think most people were annoyed about. The kind of people were saying it was almost sabotage, really, before a big game like that. Sean says, Mino is a prick and his timing is terrible when he does his nonsense, but it's his job. What better way to get Paul Pogba removed than to act the way he does? That's the thing. Obviously, maybe he sees. Maybe you have to see it from the other side of the coin and basically say, obviously, if you're in Mino Rola's position, would you be doing the same thing? And obviously, that's a question that everyone has to answer themselves, really. He also says that Pogba should leave, but for crying out loud, we played him as DM almost his whole time at United. Besides the likes of Matic and Fellaini at that, Bruno is the first-class midfielder he's played with here. True. I think Bruno Fernandes really is the only first, as I said, world-class midfielder, really, that Paul Pogba's been able to play with. And actually, when he has played with Bruno Fernandes, we've looked very good attacking. I remember the Aston Villa game towards the end of last season when we played them at Villa Park. And Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes were tearing Aston Villa apart. It was very, very good to see. But obviously, I doubt we're going to see that partnership for much longer. And finally, Sean says Jose didn't like Paul Pogba and Ollie is an amateur. We don't back our managers. Our board is terrible. Not only should Pogba leave,
can I stop a second?
Bruno wants to leave either. Yes, Daz.
There was something online that I found saying that Ollie was going to actually get backed by the board, despite him being on the brink of of going. Yeah, I mean, it was 90
Yeah.
minute. It was the 90-minute website, so that's about as reliable as a fart. So I couldn't tell you whether that's true or not. I say, this is where Tom needs to be in here. If Tom was in here, then I could have asked
Oh
him
yeah,
about it. But
Tom would have the lowdown.
as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he's going to get backed.
Well, I think I've definitely heard what you've been saying now. I have heard, people say that, or newspapers say that the board are behind him and basically saying that they want to try and this time give him time, but maybe they're giving the wrong manager time. Maybe they should have given Van Gaal more time or Mourinho more time. Who knows? Obviously, time will tell. Score predictions: Rich puts 1-1, a draw. I think, to be honest with you, Daz, obviously we know that you think we won't get more than a draw out of the game. Rich goes with 1-1. I'll give my prediction after I've asked you, and then we'll leave it at that. But Dazza, what is your score prediction?
Yeah, I mean, I said this against Leipzig as well. That I'd be surprised if we came with anything. I don't understand why everyone was so confident saying, "Oh, we're going to beat Leipzig." Yeah, most of the people who are probably doing it in that fan base probably don't watch the Bundesliga. Unlike, I wonder who.
Yours truly.
Yeah. Yeah. The Hampson fellow here. Yeah, I'm joking. But no, I think we're either going to see a few goals or it's going to be a boring draw. It's definitely going to be a draw for me. I think exactly the same as Rich. 1-1.
1-1 draw. 1-1 draw. I'll tell you what. Some people would probably take that before the start of the game, especially after the way we defended against Leipzig. I'm sure a lot of people are worried, and I'm one of them worried going into this game. I'm very, very worried. I think, Old Trafford, before last season, our record against City at Old Trafford was pretty poor. Even in the season we finished second to them, they dominated us at Old Trafford. And I think the last time we beat them at Old Trafford was actually under Louis van Gaal. So this is the thing. One thing I do think will give
wasn't
us.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it in the cup game when Rooney scored? Wasn't that 2017?
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. I think the last time the last time we beat them in the league at Old Trafford in a league game was before obviously last season, was I think in that 2016-17 season. But obviously that's in the past now. We've got to focus on the now. I think what Sean mentioned, obviously the fact we're much better on the counter-attack and the fact that we've beaten them 3 times last season. Yes, you can argue that won't have an effect, but I think a little bit psychologically it will have an effect. And I think we're much better on the break, and I think Ollie will do that. And if we are effective on the break and then we are clinical, I don't see many teams in world football that can beat us when we actually play to the best of our ability, playing counter-attacking football and scoring goals. So in that respect, I feel like we could get a result. But I think I am leaning towards a draw. I think I am leaning towards a 1-1 draw, very similar to what you said, Dazza, and what Rich said. So I think I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Rich said he would have taken 2 draws this week. Yeah, obviously we would have been in the Champions League, unfortunately, but we have to focus on the Europa League now. And it just makes me sad.
I have to laugh how Ollie says in his press conference earlier. How he says, considering last season we were struggling against teams like Astana, Rochdale, Colchester, etc. We've actually made progress this season by losing to Leipzig and PSG. How? How have we made progress? We've still got the crap defence.
Just losing against better opposition. As long as we're losing against the good teams, that's fine. It doesn't matter. If we lose.
I mean, we're scoring goals, but I don't see any progress in that team.
Well, yeah.
I don't see any progress.
I think we've got a better team. We've got a better team than we did at that point last season, but realistically, defensively, I think we've gone backwards, to be honest. But Daz, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it, and thanks to everyone who has been watching. If you're watching this as a video as well, make sure you do leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new around here. And yeah, hopefully we get the 3 points. If not, I think even the Ollie outers will be out in force again as well. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you're traveling home from university or wherever you're traveling home from tomorrow, because I know a lot of people are traveling on the weekend. Hopefully you have a safe travel. Hopefully you get home safe. And yeah, obviously this isn't the last stream before Christmas or anything, so I'm not going to say have a great Christmas just yet. But till then, thanks for watching. Check out Dazza, check out Rich, check out World Wide Red Show as well. Check out all those channels, and we'll see you all in a bit.